No, I swear that for day 3 you will sound a little better. Or is it that you're going to miss this place while you're not, sounding a little bit more powerful in your voices? Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you this morning? Blessed and highly favored, right? I'm blessed and highly favored too. As you know, in a couple of minutes, we are going to start the plenary session 8. And that is the creative industries, a gold mine for economic growth and job creation. The moderator for this section will be Mrs. Simone Clark Cooper, who is the Chief Communication and Sponsorship Officer of Grace Kennedy Limited. Our presenter will be Honorable Oliver Grange, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. Our panelists will be Mr. Wayne Messam, Mayor, City of Miramar, Florida. Mr. Zachary Harding, Member of Board Members, Directors, I should say, of JAMBRO. Ms. Gillian Wilkinson McDaniel, Senior Director of Entertainment at the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. Mr. Chris Derring, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Ready TV. And of course, Mrs. Nadine Spencer, CEO of Brand EQ Group, that is in Canada. So that is supposed to start in less than 2 minutes, that our panelists are going to come on stage and they're going to have a full discussion. So yesterday, I spoke to a particular person in the room from Ghana about Twinkle Dinkle. Is Twinkle Dinkle? Kelly. First to tell me Kiliwili, now is Kelewele. That's the correct name. And in trying to get that information, you and I are in the cleaner talking about Kelewele. Can you imagine? So I wonder if there's anybody else that can put me back in the cleaner. I'm joking.
Was that in your contract?
No, it wasn't in my contract, unfortunately. So I want to know if there's anybody else apart. Okay. Hi. Yes. Come here. Good morning.
Not particularly about Kelly Whitney. I just want to make a request.
Sure.
I'm Dr. Pat Smith from Orlando, Florida.
You're from Orlando, Florida.
I am wondering if we can have less limited talking from the speakers.
From the speakers.
Time to interact with them.
Because I want to interact with them. Like how you're interacting with me.
Yeah,
Clap me too. Clap me too.
That's what we want. The more
So of course,
interaction.
I'm going to send on that message around the back there. You're from Orlando, Florida?
Correct.
Correct. What's your name, ma'am?
Dr. Patricia Smith.
Dr. Patricia Smith. Good morning. Love you too.
So you would take to know some of the people are here too.
You're second that. So I don't want to second that motion while I'm on the stage. Why do you want to put me in this position?
Very important position. You're the feedback.
Before the panel begins.
Right.
Because this is supposed to be the Diaspora Conference.
I do want to.
We want to engage.
So you're just putting me in spotlight, words like the light is in my face.
Right.
I agree. So I will definitely send that message around.
Why
You're going to.
Why don't you get the person who is responsible, who has the power to make a difference? Because when you say you're just going to get that word out there, we know what that means. The person who's responsible for the program, planning it, we need the person that authority to make the decision to change, not just to give a message. With all
Very much so. That's
I
a
have no problem with
big
that.
issue.
And I also agree with your statement. But unfortunately, we need our panelists to be mic'd, and they are behind the stage, and they're preparing to come and now deliver to you all. Yes. Yes.
All I need is to do is that each one of get 5 minutes. One of the biggest people like 10 minutes, like her. But the rest of them 5 minutes. And then you have interaction time. Whenever I have conferences, I have at least half an hour for interaction.
How are you?
I told him that's my criticism of this conference. Yeah. I said, there's not supposed to interaction.
Hello. So, we're trying to encourage more people to come to the Diaspora. In 1972, I was told by Colonel Fuller, you must be the first to arrive and the last to leave. So people are coming on time, expecting the leaders to be here on time. And unfortunately, I know things happen, but we should try to at least start on time. Because when we go overseas, we tend to take the same principle there. And they look down on us as Jamaicans always be late. So we as the leaders here should be the first to arrive, start on time. Because we need to respect other people's time also. Don't make an effort here.
Here.
And I know you won't do that.
Oh, we will.
And of course you know I beg and crave of your patience.
Well said.
You know I beg and crave of your patience.
We've been patient.
Not all of us are doctors. We don't all have patience.
You know, what, ma'am, what is your name?
My name is Janet Lewis.
Miss Lewis?
Yes.
Where are you from?
I'm Jamaican born.
We know you're Jamaican born. Where from Jamaica are
I
you?
live in Trinidad.
Yeah. What parish are you from? Here. Clarendon. We hear it in your voice. We hear the strong church of come on popping in your voice. Some people about the Clarendonians that are here. That's practically the entire room. That is the entire room. So there's no one from Manchester.
Yes, I'm from Manchester. Manchester, Jamaica.
They just love. That's
There's just no one from St. Catherine. Hanover. Portland.
I'm from Manchester.
St. Mary. St. Thomas. Some other panelists, get ready. As you can see, they are being mic'd and they're slowly coming on the stage. Anyone from St. Anne? Yay! That's right. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for moderator, Mrs. Simone Clark-Cooper, the Chief Communication and Sponsorship Officer for Grace Kennedy Limited, who will now start the proceeding. Good morning, everybody. I hear somebody a while ago saying, "Yay, I'm from," you know where you're on a town? Too much party last night. I saw you last night. Who was at the hospitality event last night? Lyndon, you were soaked. And it was not raining. Anyway, it was lovely. It was a lovely night, and we loved to have you, and we're looking forward to this morning's session. So good morning again, everyone. Jamaicans all. Isn't it good to be home? Yes. Yes, it is, and it's good to have you. Welcome to our first session for this morning on day 3 of this conference. Today we're looking at a topic that is very ripe for discussion and debate. We're looking at the creative industries, a gold mine for economic growth and job creation. To say that Jamaica is blessed with creativity and culture is an understatement. Our diverse, distinctive, and our rich culture is reflected in our music. It's in our dance, it's in our theatre, it's in our art, our craft, our food, among so many other areas, and it makes us, as JAMPO's website states, a cultural superpower. So powerful is Jamaica's creative sector, in fact, that it is, at last check, based on the site, the 3rd largest contributor to GDP, with significant multiplier effect through linkages with several other industries. We've said yes to Dr. No, Live and Let Die, one more film, Bond film recently shot. We shot our own films that have gained us international recognition. So we big up Perry Hensel, Storm Salter, Zachary Harding, who is going to be one of our panelists this morning. If you say Bob Marley anywhere in the world, everybody knows of whom we speak, correct? Absolutely, yeah man.
And just yesterday, I actually saw one of ABC's leading anchors, Michael Strahan, posting about our legendary Usain Bolt as well. And let's not forget about Jamaican jerk, everybody. Mr. Wood wanted to claim, but we had to trademark in 2015, becoming the first English-speaking Caribbean to register a geographical indicator. Clap for us, that's a very big deal. It's gonna take our teams. The truth is, folks, we lickle. Get again, we lickle what we? Yes, man, we're large. And as it says in your brief, for today's session is Jamaica's creative industries, music, entertainment, food, fashion, and sports. Present opportunities for the diversification of our economy, which will increase our competitiveness in the international marketplace. It is imperative that we maximize the value of these industries for inclusive economic growth and job creation. So what are the key strategies to doing this? Is it securing increased local and international investments? Is it raising the international quality of goods and services? Is it increasing the global market share through key diaspora partnerships? Main question, what part do we all play? Well, it was our Honourable Minister sitting here who was quoted in an article in 2017 saying, we have a product in which little Jamaica has a competitive advantage and one which the country as a whole, policymakers, business people and professionals should help my ministry to nurture, help us grow and expand because the potential for wealth creation and employment opportunities are boundless. So we have a lot of questions to answer this morning. We're going to get started. Let me introduce you to the panelists who will walk us through some of the presentations. The Honourable Olivia Babsy-Grange, CDMP, our Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, a Member of Parliament for St. Catherine Central, a woman who has had a long, productive and inspiring career as a cultural activist, developing and managing talent. She knows about the thing because she's been in the thing. Also, a member of the Jamaican Parliament since 1997 as a representative of the people of St. Catherine Central, appointed Minister of CGS, we call the ministry, right Minister, that's okay? Culture, Gender, easy to remember that way, in 2016. We also have with us a very distinguished gentleman in the person of Mayor Wayne Messam. Yes. What do you know about Mayor Messam?
He's my mayor.
He's running.
Right
He's
here in Miramar. Right here in Miramar. Right here in Miramar.
Anything else you know about him?
He's running for the U.S.
You
presidency.
better believe it. Running for
U.S.
presidency. Can you imagine? Are there any boundaries? Gentlemen, first generation American, parents, first-step parents, his parents' children, born in the U.S., raised in South Bay, Florida. They're loving and hard-working Jamaicans. His dad actually labored in the sugarcane fields of Glaze as a migrant contract worker for nearly 2 decades. And he's been committed to public service, elected to the City of Miramar Commission in March of 2011, and so much more to learn about the mayor. We also have Mr. Zachary Hardy. Is Zachary here? Okay, Zachary's not yet here, so let me go past Zachary and introduce you to Mrs. Gillian Wilkinson McDaniel, Senior Director of Entertainment in the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. Gillian, can you raise your hand? There you go. We also have a very suave gentleman sitting over here in his purple, which he always wears because that's the color of his Ready TV, and he has actually a very fantastically interesting story about why he chose purple for his company. Marketing genius sitting over here, and hopefully he can share some of that marketing genius with us today as to how we market our creative and cultural industries abroad and at home. We also have Mrs. Nadine Spencer, Chief Executive Officer of Brand EQ Group Inc. You can clap her, that's okay. Chief Executive Officer of Brand EQ Group Inc., a global marketing and communications agency made up of top-level creative professionals from around the world, specializing in meeting clients, marketing, communications, and PR goals. So these are our experts this morning to speak. Each speaker will come, give their presentation, at which point we will open the floor for Q&A. I've been given a specific mandate to play timekeeper, so I'm going to try my best. You're giving the mandate to me too?
Yes, we are.
Don't try, do it. Okay. So everybody here is going to work with me, right? Yes, my cooperation is on the stage, so that's fantastic. So ladies and gentlemen, can you please put your hands together and welcome the Minister of Culture.
I guess I get a little edge on the time, right? Already.
Just the mic.
My distinguished panel, distinguished brothers and sisters from the diaspora. Good morning.
Good morning.
Miss Lou would say, this long time gal.
Never see you.
Come make way. You know what to sing?
Yes,
This long time gal, never see you. Come make me hold you.
This long time, girl, me never see you. Come make we wheel and turn. Teenage and cross it on the tree top. We talk the blossom. Make me hold your hand, girl. Make me hold your hand.
Okay, who wants to manage me? So I'm glad to see you this morning. You come home at a time when the national family is in mourning at the passing of former Prime Minister Edward Seaga. For me, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Seaga has been the kindest, most caring, most brilliant man I've ever known. It has been my greatest pleasure to learn from him and to work with him. And today, I'm proud to be his protege and to say that he was my mentor. He loved Jamaica and dedicated himself to the nation and to the prosperity of our people, especially through culture and the creative industries, to which I also include sports as physical culture. Mr. Seaga served us well. He has been one of our greatest leaders, and I'm pleased that you're here so that we may console each other during this difficult time. Please also allow me at this time to recognize the performance of an amazing team of Jamaican women, the Reggae Girls. As you know, they ended their first ever campaign in the FIFA Women's World Cup yesterday, and all I can say is how proud I am of them. We did not get the results we wanted, of course, or that they tried so hard to deliver for us. But out of this great experience, we got something else, ladies and gentlemen. We saw that dreams can still come true. We saw young women, previously unknown, become role models for young people in our country and in the diaspora. We got new, exciting, beautiful, talented ambassadors for Brand Jamaica, and we received extensive positive exposure for Jamaica, for our culture and for our products. The kind of exposure that can help to accelerate our program to lift more of our people from poverty to prosperity. The qualification of the Reggae Girls to the World Cup must be the start of something great. We cannot stop now. We haven't reached the goal yet. What the girls need, indeed what every athletic and creative person who carries the national flag across the globe requires, is our full and constant support. I pledge to continue being the chief advocate, the chief cheerleader, the chief supporter, the chief motivator for creative and athletic people, and will do all I can to ensure that they get the respect, the recognition and support they deserve. Long gone are the days when we think of sports and our athletes, we say they're playing. Long gone are the days when we think of our artists and our musicians, we say they're playing. It's about not just the talent, but it's about a business and about a creative industry and the creativity of our people that is at the center of Brand Jamaica. Our sports stars and creatives must be able to rely on all of us, whether we are supporters in the stands or sponsors in the corporate offices in Jamaica and in the diaspora. They may not win every time, ladies and gentlemen, but they can beat every opposition with our support. I wish to speak to you a little bit this morning about how we, your government, are giving support to our creative and athletic people and leading the way for gender equality. Jamaica is accorded superpower status in global culture, entertainment, and physical culture, that is sport. It didn't just happen. It is a result of significant investment in these areas with the building out of infrastructure, the establishment of institutions, and the development of programs. In this, the government has played a leading role. In the field of culture, Edward Seaga initiated the Jamaica Festival as a showcase for the island's talent in music, singing, dance, art, and culinary activities. He introduced the Craft Development Agency to encourage the expansion of cottage industries and set up Things Jamaica as a sophisticated production complex for the work of the people. He also encouraged research work in folk art, promoted indigenous pop music, and worked out the initial plans for the Cultural Training Center, now the Edna Manley College, which embraces the visual and the performing arts. He was a visionary that created the Creative Production and Training Center and the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission. Through these initiatives, we have been able to find and hone athletic and creative talent which has done well on the world stage. What we haven't done as well, however, is grasping the opportunities to earn from the talent and creations of our people. I believe there are boundless opportunities to earn from our talent and creations, and that is a priority of this administration, which I'm proud to be a part of. We have invested a lot in the cultural and creative industries because we have seen how many of our people have been able to lift themselves from poverty to prosperity through our own creations. And so the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport is taking strategic steps to encourage and facilitate the development of the cultural and creative industries for the benefit of all our people. The mantra of my government is the word prosperity. It is our guiding light. Everything we do is geared towards delivering increased levels of prosperity to all the Jamaican people. Recently, we got the green light to begin operationalizing the National Cultural and Creative Industries Commission. This is a huge deal for us. The NCCIC represents the next step in providing meaningful support for our creatives to ensure that they earn from their creations and abilities. And the National and Cultural and Creative Industries Council, not Commission, will in fact be called Jamaica Creative or Creative Jamaica. I have charged Creative Jamaica or Jamaica Creative with the establishment of a digital distribution and promotion platform for Jamaican music, video, and fashion, for the establishment of a Kingston Creative Media Village for increased visibility and accessibility of creative practitioners, for the establishment of the Creative Skills Council, and the establishment of a Culture and Creative Industries Fund for Jamaica. Our recent successful nomination of the reggae music of Jamaica to the Intangible Cultural Heritage List for UNESCO, our successful nomination of the Blue and John Crow Mountains to the World Heritage List, and our current bid for Port Royal to be inscribed on the World Heritage List should be seen within the lens of my government facilitating and creating opportunities for people to lift themselves using our cultural and physical assets. And we have been investing, ladies and gentlemen, in preparing our people to benefit from the economic activities that will come with these inscriptions. For instance, my ministry, in collaboration with several government and non-governmental partners, has been running a series of economic opportunities workshops in communities close to a designated, nominated, or soon-to-be nominated site for World Heritage List inscription. In communities close to the Blue and John Crow Mountains, more than 400 people in the parishes of Portland, St. Thomas, and St. Andrew have been provided with entrepreneurship training and other types of support to start and improve small businesses. We have also conducted training in Port Royal and the compound to prepare our people to increase their earnings from the cultural heritage that resides in their communities. And I must tell you, I've been wearing some of the jewelry that they're produced in these communities. The World Heritage designation fits into our government's bigger plan for Port Royal, the underwater city and the parts that were never submerged. We are moving to establish a floating cruise ship pier in Port Royal, and we have recently declared our first entertainment zone at Fort Rocky in the town. Music events are a big part of Jamaican entertainment. We made a decision to invest in the Carnival in Jamaica program. We have seen a 4.8% increase in visitor arrivals during the Carnival period from 2017 to 2018, with spending up of 7.4% to $2.2 billion over the period. Visitor arrivals during Reggae Month increased from 7% in 2018 compared with 2017. We want to report similar increases for Jamaica Festival and other Emancipation activities when we meet again. The police tell us that they granted more than 120,000 permits during the 5-year period, 2012 to 2017. That's 24,000 permits a year, or 2,000 permits a month across the island. That provided more than 30,000 temporary jobs. The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation earned more than $30 million from permits in 2016 alone, and these are for events. The point I want to make strongly is that there are many people earning from the entertainment industry. Entertainment has lifted so many Jamaicans out of poverty, and there's scope for further growth through regulation and development of entertainment spaces with the requisite infrastructure. In all this development, we have to consider spaces where people will be able to party without disturbing their neighbor. You know the song? Yes. Let's turn to sports. In many ways, sports define us as a nation, and Jamaica has a great reputation in sports, built through much hard work over the many years. Through our grassroots development program, the government works with sports federation to find, to nurture, and develop athletic talent. Our aim is to ensure that each Jamaican has the opportunity to succeed in sports from the grassroots to the high performance level, develop the sports industry, and encourage participation in sports as a way of life for people. You all know about Jamaica Moves. At the high performance level, Jamaica continues to punch way above its weight class, particularly in track and field, where we have produced some of the fastest men and women the world has ever known, led by the great Usain Bolt. We're putting greater focus and attention on strengthening the skill set of athletics in non-traditional sports. Recently, I announced new rules for local sports federation to access funding from the ministry. The rules require federations to give greater support to Special Olympians, Paralympians, and women and girls in sports. And we have, yes, please applaud, because gender is an issue. Olympians, Paralympians, and Special Olympians need special consideration. And we have implemented a policy at the Institute of Sports where we are now awarding equal prize money for girls and boys teams in our primary school football and netball competitions. In the past, the boys teams, their prize money would be double what the girls get. So now, both male and female prize money is equal.
Yeah.
We've been able to achieve great heights in international sport with minimal infrastructure. As we focus on maximizing the value of sport to national development, we are pursuing a comprehensive sport infrastructure program with a focus on redevelopment of national sports facilities. The National Stadium in Kingston and the Trelawney Stadium in Western Jamaica. The National Stadium development is necessary. It's expensive, but it's necessary, and it is now urgent. If we do not find a way to carry out the necessary upgrades soon, we could find ourselves in a position where we're unable to host certain international events which we currently do today. This could have a devastating impact on our sports people and on the development of the sports tourism industry, which depends on our hosting of competitions, meetings, and conferences, as well as team athletes for training. Currently, we train athletes from over 20 countries, and we are proud to say that many of the athletes representing other countries in international competitions were actually trained in Jamaica. Preserving our sport heritage is also important to us. Over the past 2 years, we have been improving the skill set of our museum professionals towards our goal of establishing the country's first purpose-built museum to showcase our rich and expansive feats in sport and to help with the development of the sport industry. We're engaging in deliberate and strategic actions to develop markets in sport enterprises through manufacturing of sport goods and the offerings of services such as sport administration and the marketing and planning of sport events. The global market for sporting events alone was estimated to be worth $80 billion in 2014. When we add sporting goods, apparel, equipment, and health and fitness spending, the value moves to $700 billion. We also have a lot to offer in terms of the provision of skills and services. The G.C. Foster College for Physical Education and Sport, ladies and gentlemen, is the premier training institution in the Caribbean. The Faculty of Sports Sciences at the University of Technology is also producing graduates of the highest caliber in sport management and related fields. We are therefore in a position to provide highly skilled and highly trained specialists in sport, and we welcome students from across the world who wish to train with us. Let me quickly turn to gender affairs. We are committed to the principle of gender equality. Among the priorities is ensuring that women and children receive adequate protection and redress under the law. We have implemented the National Strategic Action Plan to eliminate gender-based violence within the next 10 years. We have launched an anti-gender violence public education campaign, and the theme is No Excuse for Abuse, with the support of UN Women. And we are moving to establish a network of government-run shelters for victims of gender-based violence. Awesome. Last year we established one shelter, and this year we intend to establish 2 more shelters. So we will have one in the west, one in the east, and one mid-island. The establishment of government-run shelters is critical, as we have found in the Women's Health Survey conducted with the support of UN Women and the IDB, that 1 in 12 women stays in an abusive relationship because she has nowhere to go. So these shelters will help women to leave abusive situations. I'm grateful for the support of members of the diaspora in ensuring that these shelters become a reality.
Yes.
And so we invite you to give a hand and to give support to this initiative. We're also focusing strongly on empowering our women. We will help more to break the glass ceiling and to achieve their great potential. We want more women in leadership positions everywhere. We were happy to host an inter-parliamentary meeting on gender equality for Parliamericas and their foreign membership as part of a thrust to improve the number of women in decision making. And I want to tell you, we want to see more women in politics. I want to see more women joining me. So please, I came back from Toronto and got involved in politics. And here I am today, your minister. So I'm inviting all of you. The door is open. Additionally, we are a partner in the UN Women Win-Win Gender Equality Means Good Business program in Jamaica. The program engages private sector organizations and seeks to highlight the importance of ensuring equal pay for equal work. We're working steadfastly through the newly established Gender Advisory Council to mobilize our women across the island. But I must tell you, we're not leaving out our men. We need our men and our men need us. So we have expanded our service in addressing the issues that men and much more that we will do to create jobs and grow the economy through our people's creativity. But as I wrap up, as the moderator looks at me, right, is to say that this panel is very representative of all the areas that impact on Jamaica and Grand Jamaica through the culture and creative industries. I look forward to their contribution this morning, which will be quite interesting. And to say to you that wherever we go, Ms. Lou would say, wherever there's a Jamaican,
Yes.
is Jamaica.
Right. That's right.
And we're proud to be Jamaicans.
Yes.
And we always have that little edge. They say we're feisty, and we're bossy,
Yeah.
but we're little,
But the
but we're talented. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Right on time, right?
Not quite, but very, very comprehensive. Thank you very much. Good work being done in the ministry. Please give moderator So I'm using moderator's privilege and I'm instituting a rule that says for every minute that you go over your allotted time, you have to donate $1,000.
US or Jamaica?
US dollars to a central fund
Right.
that will help to move diaspora projects along. Shelters is a good one.
Second
Right?
emotion.
So, Minister, you went over by. You were supposed to have wrapped at 9:38 and you wrapped at 9:45. Do the math for me, somebody?
7 minutes.
7,000.
7,000 years.
You will get some support from your brothers and sisters. No pressure. So, it's over now to the mayor of the city of Miramar for his presentation. Actually, first, let's take some questions for Minister Grange. If you have them, may we see your hands? Do we have roving microphones in the audience, or do we speak from right here? Can you make your way to a microphone if you have a question, please, so we can get through this session?
Minister Grange, thanks for your presentation. I'll be very quick. Kevin Brown, Chair of the Jamaican Diaspora UK. For many years, Minister, we've been talking about how we can make more money and profit from our music industry. Why hasn't it happened? What are the headwinds? What's stopping us from exploiting our culture and musical talent?
You can hear me. There is nothing stopping us. We are benefiting. We just have to step it up some more. But what I can tell you is that we have our entertainers. They tour on a regular basis. Sometimes here in Jamaica, we aren't able to book them because they are busy touring across the world. And not only that, but many of them now live a very affluent, or I would say much better lifestyle than how they originally existed. The music industry has created wealth for a number of poor and upper Jamaicans. And so we are doing very well. We have over how many festivals? 368 reggae festivals across the world. What I think is needed, however, is for the diaspora to come on board in planning events, reaching out to us at the ministry. We can ensure that you get the right kind of entertainment, and we can ensure that it's not priced out of your reach. If you reach out to us, when these artists are on tour, we can ensure that in their itinerary, you can be included for an event that you may wish to promote.
All right, next question. As you move along.
UK. Minister, as Jamaica makes strides in breaking ground in new sport discipline, especially 10 new categories heading to Tokyo in 2020. The question is, what level of support can we expect from the ministry for those who are participating from the diaspora, joining teams in the diaspora, especially the smaller groups like the gymnastics and the karate? So what can we expect? We don't mind dipping our hands in our pockets, but from the lead, from the ministry, what should we expect? Is there any support, financial support mechanism in place?
The ministry, the government through the ministry, we have always supported our athletes. All the disciplines, there are over 40 disciplines. And once you reach out to the ministry, we will always respond. I won't mention names, but there are a number of athletes who are now getting funding support in their development, particularly the young ones. And we have an athlete's insurance plan, which covers all athletes who represent Jamaica, and it includes maternity, life, accident, health, including maternity.
Excellent. Next question, please.
Yeah, my question was regarding, well, I have 2 points, but regarding those who are musicians. I manage a band in New Jersey, and I ask them oftentimes, what are you going to do in terms of retirement? And so, I'm wondering if there's something that we could do so that they will, because we know a lot of famous musicians who just died without nothing. The other question is the theme for the festival, is it released yet, the theme? Do they have a theme?
Sorry,
for the festival, like a theme for the festival?
Oh, we are working on that. We will announce the theme very shortly.
Okay, because we need that overseas.
Yes, we will send that information shortly. But in relation to musicians, a lot of musicians, they will make good money for a while, and then when they're not as popular, they would have used up all their funds, and then they go on hard times. They call it hard times. What we're now encouraging is for, the system in Jamaica does provide an opportunity where they can contribute from the funds they're earning, that they currently earn, and contribute to the national insurance and to the National Housing Trust. And the system provides the opportunity for them to do that. And also, we, through the ministry, will be introducing an insurance plan, similar to the insurance plan we have for the athletes, so that there's not an issue when a musician or an artist passes, you have to pass the hat around to bury them, that kind of thing. So we are putting programs in place to assist in that regard, and we also conduct workshops so they can have estate planning, they know how to plan, and they're able to maximize the benefits that currently exist in the system.
All right, folks.
It can be expanded on later on through Mrs. McDaniel, who is the officer in my ministry who deals with these matters.
All right. Next question. Can you keep it as brief as possible?
Sharon Paris Chambers, Carib Newsroom, Jamaica. Mr. Grace, thank you for your presentation this morning. You were part of the welcome, the national welcome for President Akufo Addo from Ghana on Sunday. And he made his very passionate speech to us, and we embraced it. You are very much interested in expanding our cultural exchange to Africa. Can you tell us how we are going to embrace that invitation to the diaspora to return in the year of return, 2019?
Well, I just want to indicate to everyone here that this government has a deliberate strategy of strengthening the bonds between Jamaica and the continent of Africa. And we have demonstrated that in a very tangible way. The Prime Minister went to Namibia last year. I was there as well. And a road was renamed in honor of our national hero, Marcus Garvey. We are in constant dialogue and working on several projects with Julius Garvey, Dr. Julius Garvey. We have a series of visits here from leaders on the continent, from the continent of Africa. For independence celebrations, President Kenyatta will be our special guest. And we are launching our observance of the International Decade of People of African Descent in August 6th on our Independence Day. And that celebration will run for a year. We also we also just completed very successful economic opportunities workshop in Port Royal, and the trainers were 2 Nigerians, courtesy of the Nigerian High Commission. There are so many other things, but time will not permit me to tell you, but suffice it to say that we are proud of our African heritage. We do everything to ensure that we highlight our African retentions. We would want you in the diaspora to do so as well. And that we will, in fact, improve our communication with you so you will know exactly what we're doing as things evolve.
Okay, 9:55, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap our Q&A at 10. I hope that any questions you have that are burning after, you can perhaps speak with the folks on the panel post-session. May we have your question, please?
Sandra Gibson, South Florida, first-time diaspora attendee, and glad to be here, Honorable Grange. Wonderful presentation. I sit on the National Board in Washington, D.C. with National Council on Negro Women, which I was elected going on my 2nd term, which is 4 years, going to end next year, serving as the first Caribbean on that board. And our reasons for being here is that 2 years ago I set out to bring a chapter here to Jamaica. This organization is 85 years old and was founded by Mayor McLeod Bethune. Our initiative is health, education, and economic empowerment. Now, there's an African proverb says, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. And I think together we can do this. And this morning, I would like to extend an invitation to you as we seek to launch the first National Council of Negro Women section here in Kingston to be a part of this chartered group. We are seeking to find 25 women, which I found 2 already who's here. These 2 young ladies are from the NCNW in Bronx, New York. And Miss Carly Robinson will be migrating back here in August as returning to Jamaica to live here, so she'll be spearheading the group for me. So we extend you an invitation to be a part of that chartering section here in Jamaica, where we can bring resources back here to help our students and our women Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll talk after.
Go ahead.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Minister Grange. My name is Marie Kellier, and I am the alternate advisory board member for Midwest USA. Anyway, last conference I came and I invited the ministry to use metallics, use my skills, use my knowledge. Anyway, I didn't get a response. Anyway, this time, I'm actually one of the designated producers for the city of Los Angeles. And I was recently granted a small grant to bring up Jamaican talent in preparation for the 2028 Olympics, which will be in Los Angeles. So I'm inviting your ministry to support that effort. I'm currently looking for talent in order to produce that. They have a series of international concert series, and I chose Jamaica, of course, as my country to work with. And given the high level of excellence in our sports, I want our concert to be of that caliber. So I am requesting your support of your ministry in executing that project. Okay. I do have a small grant for that, but it's not enough. Okay. And we want to bring the best.
Thank you for your invitation. Please write to us.
I kind of did already.
Just write again.
So, no, I'm here in person. I came specifically because I have the information in hand, so I really want to.
All right, you can provide it to Mrs. McDaniel, who's sitting to my left.
Thank you.
And we will respond.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, folks. I'm going to have to wrap it there. Can I just ask you to hang on to your questions until after, and then if you get an opportunity. Sorry about that. Trying to move things along. All right, we apologize to Mr. Zachary Harding, member of the Board of Directors of JAPRA, who is unavoidably absent this morning. He wanted to be here, but he's not able to be here, so he asked us to pass on his apologies to you. Let me now invite the Mayor of Miramar, who we spoke of earlier, introduced you to him. Found out some other things about him this morning. He's actually a runner, so he usually starts his Wednesday morning with, is it a 5K, sir? 10, 20K? 50K? Yes. He's a runner, and what I learned from him last night is that he's also an avid mic man. He was on the sound system last night, along with a gentleman over there by the name of Marion Hill, whom I won't name. And I can tell you, anyway, you should have been there, is all I'm saying. Welcome the Mayor for me, please. His presentation. Mayor, you have 8 minutes, I'm told. Remember, every minute over that is? 1,000. Thank you.
1,000.
Why are you so tall? Good morning. My God. You must be about 7 foot.
Well, good morning, Diaspora. I'm Miramar Mayor Wayne Nessa. I stand before you in that capacity, although I have been recognized for a very ambitious feat that I have embarked upon, which I take with pride and with a lot of energy. So I'm very happy to be here before you. And as the Mayor of Miramar, which is believed to have the 5th largest Jamaican diaspora population, and our city commission, which is made up of 5 members, including myself as the mayor, are all of Jamaican heritage or descent. So we're very proud of that fact, and perhaps maybe the only city in the world that has 100% of Jamaican elected representatives in the diaspora of a very multicultural community. So I'm here today to talk about cities and creative industries, and perhaps to share some Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, which the city of Miramar has a very strong relationship with, and finalizing a sister cities relationship where we are already collaborating as it relates to emergency response dealing with hurricanes. We've invited a delegation from the local municipal corporation to share best practices so that we can leverage the expertise and the knowledge of the diaspora and working hand in hand with Jamaica. So I want to first talk about what I'll briefly cover in my presentation as it relates to how we expand creative industries like sports, performing arts, and the city of Miramar is primed for that. So I'll cover some of the infrastructure investments we've made, our efforts to expand cultural tourism, leveraging our assets to establish promotional partnerships, which we are already embarking upon here in Jamaica as well as with the diaspora, and to talk about some of these economic development benefits, because at the end of the day, you need funding sources, and if we can monetize this very niche ability to exploit or to take advantage of culture and arts, it will be beneficial in terms of sustainability. Now, in terms of the city of Miramar, we're currently right now, we've invested over $30 million in our infrastructure, not in engineering, which is another topic, but in cultural and athletic infrastructure. So in other words, we need the assets, the facilities, the resources to be able to provide venues, to provide the possibilities to not only to identify talent, but to develop it and to enjoy the benefits of entertainment. The city of Miramar, for those of you who are familiar with Miramar, we're a very linear city. We're about 11 miles east to west, about 2.5 miles north to south. So we have a western section, a central section, and our historic east section of town. And we've been very deliberate to ensure that our community can benefit from that. So on our eastern side of the town, we have Shirley Bronca, a park that has a band shell that holds about 2,500 individuals. It's an open space facility where we can have, poetry, concerts, festivals in our historic side of town, which we have a very large West Indian community there. In our central part of the city, we have our state-of-the-art cultural center. And when I had his worship, the Honorable Delroy Williams here in Kingston, they're currently going through a renovation of the Ward Theater, and it's strikingly similar in terms of space, the decor, and we've been able to leverage some of our construction and engineering documents so that they can use that as information to help to renovate the historic Ward Theater. And we're planning on how we can exchange programming between the two facilities. In our western side of town, we have our large state-of-the-art amphitheater, which holds up to 5,000 individuals, in which some of you may have attended the Jamaican Jerk Fest, which usually takes place in our neighboring city, Sunrise. But this year, we were able to bring the Jamaican Jerk Fest to Miramar. So we're very excited about that. For those of you who are in Washington and New York, you have your own version. Basically, it's defined as focusing on opportunities to utilizing culture and combining those specific visitor services and experiences to include venues, arts, and convention centers in particular as a way to attract key groups to the area, and that's what we're doing in the city of Miramar. In Miramar, when you're redeveloping areas, gentrification is a challenge in terms of not displacing those individuals that live in that community and can no longer afford it. But one of the ways we are seeing this in terms of the city of Miramar, which we've had our experiences of that, is to be more conscious, more socially conscious, so that we can incorporate the sensitivity to ensure that people are not displaced. And we're using culture and tourism to do that. We see that as an economic growth opportunity. In the city of Miramar, we're in the process right now to expand our amphitheater and our Anson Sports Complex, which is our track facility, where we are working with organizers to see how we can bring the champions from Champs over to Miramar to compete against other Caribbean sprinters as well as some of the best sprinters in the U.S., where we can then leverage that cultural exchange. Now, leveraging our assets to establish promotional partnerships. Because we've spent a significant amount in detailing the establishment of our infrastructure, we want to leverage this now. And here is where our not only to Kingston and to Jamaica and to the diaspora, is that we are open for business. And if you have any programming, if you have artists, if you want a series of exchange and collaboration, the city of Miramar is open to facilitate those opportunities. Because I believe as diasporans, it is our responsibility to be intentional in the way how we can expand our culture, expand our reach. And as the mayor, obviously, my fiduciary responsibility is to our taxpayers in the city of Miramar. But that does not mean that I cannot leverage that responsibility to enrich our community locally while expanding our reach to Jamaica, to Toronto, to other areas like London, so that our residents, of which many are from Jamaica, are of Jamaican descent, can benefit, can profit, as well as add value. So we look forward to leveraging those opportunities, and I'll quickly go to my last slide because I have about 1 minute left, and I'll take questions afterwards. But one of the areas where I'm most excited about are our youth, because our youth are our future. They have so many ideas, and I look forward to bringing a delegation from Jamaica to Miramar and sending our youth back here to Jamaica, of which many are second and third generation, know that their grandparents are from Jamaica, know that their parents are from Jamaica, but there's a disconnect from the culture. And we have an opportunity to make those linkages by facilitating exchange between the youth, whether it's in sports, in performing arts, or in academics. And when we're out in the diaspora, especially if we are in the position of either power or resources, we have to be intentional in looking at how we can expand those opportunities locally in our respective communities while being able to tie the linkage back to Jamaica so that those who are descendants of the homeland can know their culture, know their history. And if we don't, then shame on us.
I'm doing community social, so that's
Samuel, we understand $30 million injection in cultural infrastructure. You probably don't have the $1,000 extra. It's okay. We'll give you a chance, but thank you for that. I'm excited about the prospects for leveraging relationships and sharing of information that can help to move us both forward. That World Theatre project is something we're all excited about as Jamaicans, so we look forward to hearing more. Lots of alignment with what's happening in Miramar, what's happening in Kingston City and other parts of Jamaica. So thank you, Mayor, for sharing that. Q&A time, sir.
Right, hi, Norman Hemming from the city of Miramar. Mr. Mayor, I know this was mostly directed to cultural exchanges. However, my understanding is that we're a part of the 5th largest school district in the United States, in Miramar. What efforts, if you could perhaps help to educate the diaspora on the efforts that you've done to have educational exchanges here with the Minister of Education in Jamaica and the City of Miramar schools?
Yes, thanks so much for the question, Your Honor, Judge Henry.
Sir.
In the city of Miramar, which, by the way, the superintendent of our school, Robert Muncie, a Harvard graduate, is actually the lead of our school. And the Diaspora Task Force, Education Task Force, actually the city of Miramar, a year before last, actually hosted the conference which was held in the city of Miramar. Has always been a partner in the diaspora, not only making our facilities available to host these meetings, but I think the Jamaica Teachers Association are a part of that conference where they've sent several administrators and educators to collaborate with our educators to share best practices. And that's taking place right in Broward County and in the city of Miramar. In terms of our youth, I have the My Brother's Keepers program, which was started by our former president, Barack Obama, where we mentor youth and we encourage them to reach their full potential, of which many of them are of Jamaican descent. Yes. And we're looking forward to expanding those relationships here and planning trips and the youth that are here in Jamaica. So those are just, there's many more examples of how we collaborate in terms of, I'll take for example, there's an interest with our state college, Broward College, and our thriving aviation sector, and merging that and collaborating with the maritime industry, because I know that there's a very prominent maritime university here in Kingston, because there are so many collaborations where we can leverage our strength, match it with the strength here, as well as provide opportunities where we can lend resources, and vice versa, because even in the U.S., we don't have all the answers. And there are answers here that we can benefit from. So those are the opportunities that we have done in education.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me just advise, if your answers are also too long, then you have to pay the $1,000. One more question, and then this gentleman, and then we'll wrap Q&A for this segment and move on.
Greetings, all great people gathered here. This one is for Sir Will Morris.
Messa. Yes.
All right, and Tafari Kimani Babaton, the FIFA accredited football coach, created talk show host, and music producer. I noticed while you presented, there was no mention about football. But if, just in case, that is in your
Reggae girls just playing music.
you can communicate with me after. And we can see how we can include that.
Yes, of course.
Because of the very restricted time in my presentation.
We'll pay the $2,000.
The Reggae Girls.
That's right. Yep, we sure did.
Of the Council General of Miami that was held at the St. Anselm Sports Complex that I talked about, and our FIFA certified field. So we are very open to not just soccer, but also my passion. I'm a former U.S. football player, so we can hold all of those events. And I'll end with this briefly. There's actually an organization that wants to expand football for amputees. They have teams in the U.S., in Haiti, and other Caribbean islands, and I'm meeting with them today to talk about starting a team here to expose football to amputees that are here in Jamaica.
Beautiful. May I just advise that you also throw shade on the moderator? Sir.
Dr. Ian Edwards, Jamaican living in Naples, Florida. This question is for Minister Babsy Grange.
All right, so Minister's segment is gone. Do you have a question for the mayor?
No.
Do you have $1,000?
We'll pay for the mayor.
No, you're right. I'm not in business. All right, get wrong. All right. We have to move it along. Is the issue, folks? Because I know you don't want to be in here for a long segment, right? But I get the presentations going, so I have to do my job, or else I will not be. Minister, you have to leave? So the minister actually has to go. So on that point, I'm going to intervene. Can you come and ask your question, sir? So just so you don't have me up and you go back.
So, wonderful job in taking care of the ladies. How about the young men? So, as a Jamaican who grew up in the 60s without a father figure, what are we doing to help the young men who has been emasculated in taking care of the family? And this is a result in the crime rate and some young men not taking on the responsibility as a father figure. How can the diaspora work together in partnership with the Jamaican government in helping to help these young men to be wonderful fathers and leaders, not only absentee fathers, but also fathers who are taking care of their family and they're living within the household and taking care of their children. Thank you very much.
Time does not allow me to give you all the details, but what I can say to you, through the Bureau of Gender Affairs, the Bureau was once called the Bureau of Women's Affairs. It is now the Bureau of Gender Affairs, which means that we are equally focused on matters that affect men and boys. And we have an extensive program within the Bureau of Gender Affairs. I will give you my card, and I can provide you with the information. And I look forward to you and other members of the diaspora working closely with the Bureau of Gender Affairs and my ministry to treat with men and boys and the issues that affect them. Good parenting, being good fathers, and also looking at male marginalization.
Thank you, Minister. I think you touched briefly on several things that are happening in your presentation with respect to the young men. Minister has to leave us. Can we give her a round of applause? Thank you, Minister, for being here this morning and sharing with us. You want a quick photo? Okay, quick means you have timekeeper again. You have 30 seconds and we start counting now. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18. Jeez, boxes. Thank you, gentlemen. Who says Jamaica's got anything on time? Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Minister. Have a fantastic day. And thank you for being here with us this morning. Mrs. Wilkinson, Daniel, please don't bother to sit down because we're inviting you to the microphone with your presentation right now. Let me welcome the Senior Director of Entertainment in the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Mrs. Gina Wilkinson McDaniel.
Thank you, Simone. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard this morning the creative industries are the outgrowth of our very rich and diverse heritage here in Jamaica. Minister spoke to that earlier. And as well as our time-honored traditions, language, values, and our the essence of who we are as a Jamaican people. We are bold, we are creative, we are confident, and as Minister said, we're little but we tallow. But today I want to touch on an issue that I believe it was Kevin Bowen from the UK who he spoke to the issue of what it is that we're doing in relation to culture and creative industries. And a CNBC study in 2018 listed media and entertainment as one of the major industries for the next decade or 2 decades. As technology disrupts everything we do, it's disrupting business practices, industry, our social interactions. Our children no longer speak to us when they're at the dinner table, they are on their phones. And even politics. Well, Mayor Messom is here from the United States. We see that there will be a greater need for sports, for music, for the arts, for culture. And it is that which will bridge the gap, culture, the arts, entertainment, that will bridge the gap for us as cities, as societies. One of the trends that we have started to see in media and entertainment is how video games has started to disrupt culture. It is through video games, Assassin's Creed, Grand Theft Auto 5, Far Cry 3 and Temporal. That is how our children are getting information about culture, and Jamaican culture in particular. Children in the diaspora know from Assassin's Creed version 5, for example, that there was a serial killer in the 1700s right here in Jamaica. They know about Port Royal. They know about the music. Lee Scratch Perry's featured very prominently, where he features some of the 6 genres of music that Kingston, Jamaica is famous for. Mental, ska, rocksteady, dub, reggae, dancehall. That was created right here in Kingston, and you see that in those video games. And so the question that we really have to ask ourselves as persons
purveyors of culture right here in Jamaica, as well as in the diaspora, how do we then start to translate that information in a way that our children and our grandchildren, and so on, generations to come, will begin to understand who we are as a Jamaican people, what is this culture about? This media and entertainment disruption will become one of the most important things for our societies. I believe Marlon Lindsay on Monday may have spoken to that. When we look around this room, really and truly, when we see the young tech entrepreneurs, they're 22 years old and under, and we don't have that many of them in this room. We don't have that many of them involved and being a part of this Diaspora Conference. And those are things that we really must begin to change as government, from the perspective of government. How do we begin to involve youth? How do we begin to involve children who do not think the way that they have, the culture that they have become accustomed to is very, very different from the way that we grew up in the 1970s and the 1960s in Jamaica and in the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, the charge is one for all of us. Minister spoke a lot to the issues and what it is that the Ministry of Culture is doing in relation to culture and the creative industries and sport. But I want to challenge us to actually be more, I want to challenge us to involve youth more in our thinking about culture. I want to challenge us to involve youth more. It is more than them playing the sport. They're actually disrupting the way we live. They're actually disrupting our societies, and it's disruption in a very, very good way. Our children think, and they are reacting to what it is that we're doing. They're creating apps. They're creating entertainment platforms. And how do we then incorporate that in our normal business, in what we do? How do we change cities with that? How do we revitalize the downtown Kingston era with youth? By using augmented reality, by using artificial intelligence. How do we allow those children in? Because the antithesis to that is what we see in our societies today. It is more crime, more violence, and more marginalization, male marginalization, female marginalization more and more in our cities. And so, ladies and gentlemen, my comments and my charge to us is to be more inclusive of our youth in particular, and especially in relation to that technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that presentation. I think in the same way we plan for businesses and who comes next and how we pass down information, we call it succession planning. I think we need to do that with our young people as it relates to Jamaican culture as well, especially if we are Jamaicans living outside of Jamaica. It really is, sad when you have a young person living abroad with Jamaican heritage or Jamaican links, first generation, Jamaican, second generation, they don't know much about Jamaica. So I think that is a charge that we can all take on. I find it interesting too that you speak about the technology. I don't know how many of us in this room are atop the technology, so that is also a charge we need to take on, because a lot of the media now with which our children are interacting, we don't know anything about it, which is also a challenge in itself as to what they are picking up online and reading and all the rest of it. So thank you for your presentation. Do we have any questions for Mrs. Julian Wilkinson McDaniel? If you do, can you make your way to the microphone now, and we will allow 5 minutes and we'll start right now. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, good morning again. I'm not sure how you view it, but in terms of reggae music overseas or music overseas, reggaeton, some of the best bands are no longer considered Jamaican bands, etc. Do we look at that as a proud point, or is it competitive? Are we losing something? And We're trying to get back in our culture, where we're trying to, breed new artists and all that. And are there any kind of collaboration in terms of writing, etc., so that we can continue to be the best?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. I want to give you a series of interesting statistics. 70% of the reggae music that is played in Eastern Europe is by local Eastern European bands. 90% of that played in Western Europe. It's split. 90% in Eastern Europe, 70% in Western Europe. The UK, 75%. So we have been seeing a reduction in the amount of Jamaican bands that have been touring overseas. Now, there are a number of reasons for that. One is internal, that the ministry and the government has been looking at and implementing strategies. It's in relation to business practices. That is how business-like people are, the kinds of contracts, contract negotiations, all of those kinds of business practices. And those are things that the ministry is taking steps to actually to fix. Some of them, the other issue, of course, is visas. Visas as a technical barrier to trade. So the imposition of a visa regime, for example, will in fact mean that some artists, some very, very good artists are unable to travel. We know some of the famous cases. So that too is a disincentive. However, there are ways, and I think that this new trend that we have, Reggae Sumfest has implemented this 2 years ago, where they have started with Sumfest to actually feature high, top quality, local entertainment and bring people to Jamaica. Why is that important? Because when you come to Jamaica, you spend more. You spend on a hotel, you spend on food, you spend on transport, you take your family out, your family, all the linkages that happen. You're going to buy craft items. You're going to do all kinds of things. So the direct and indirect spend in the economy becomes greater. And so that is also an important strategy. And there are other ways that I know that as members of the diaspora that you can share with us about how it is that we cauterize some of this. But the point is that in terms of the framework and the infrastructure, the government of Jamaica and the Ministry of Culture, that is what we're doing in order to ensure that the business practices are correct, you're negotiating properly, and that you have the systems to support the artists to prevent some of the things that you're talking about.
Thank you. Final two questions. Yes, Madam Sharonda.
Hi, Sharonda Farrell Cupid. My question takes us to a whole other topic in terms of filmmaking. Now, everybody watches themselves on TV and in a film. I don't know about anybody else here, but whenever we're represented in anything that's produced by Hollywood, we either sound wrong or look wrong. Personally, I'm offended. And so as a filmmaker who comes out of LA, I want to know, aside from the propeller program that exists here that goes through JAFTA, is there any kind of infrastructure that has been or will be created to facilitate those of us who exist in the diaspora who want to tell or Jamaican stories? We have the contacts, we have the talent, but sometimes what we need is just a conversation as well as investment. Is there anything that is in place or being put in place to facilitate that?
Okay, I will say that the Jamaica Film Commission is the oldest film commission in the region. It is 35 years old. And as a result, there has been a fairly good structure in relation to film policy and film incentives, in fact, even more so than the other creative sectors. In relation to funding for creatives outside of Jamaica, there are some challenges with funding creatives outside of Jamaica. Primarily because as someone in the diaspora, you have access to other kinds of funding that Jamaican filmmakers may not have, for example. And to level the playing field, the formation of the JAFTA, the Jamaica Film and Television Association, that was supposed to allow for persons in Jamaica to be able to connect with their counterparts. One way that we can increase funding, or there can be greater funding between Jamaica and the diaspora is through some sort of co-production. The only co-production agreement that we have, as you probably know, is with the UK. There has been talk for a number of years in relation to a co-production agreement between Jamaica and Canada. However, there are ways that we can co-produce and we can share funding in less formal ways than a treaty-like agreement, which is what the co-production is. So I think that's something that we can explore. But you're right. There may not be enough funding for diaspora filmmakers, but that is something for us to explore.
Okay, thank you for that answer. Big up the Propeller program and JAFTA. I mean, Flight, that movie that just won awesome awards in Cannes, and so we're doing big things across the world. Final question, sir.
Yes, one of the things you mentioned was about engaging the younger diaspora, that second and third generation. So just looking for some strategies that you could suggest, because I know in Canada, the 310,000 Jamaicans, only 110,000 are first generation born in Jamaica. So the largest segment is that second and third generation. So if we don't find a way to engage them, then we stand to lose.
Thank you very much. And that's what I'm saying. And that was a point I was making in relation to Assassin's Creed and Grand Theft Auto. It is, we have to be clear on what it is that we want to impart in these, and we have to be in that game in order to make that change. The intellectual property rights, somebody had asked earlier why it is that we haven't moved forward. And part of it is that we need to start owning the IPRs, intellectual property rights. That is really the key, because you'll continue to collect, you'll continue to earn 20, 30, 40 years down the line. And it's the IPRs and naming rights in relation to our stadium, Mayor Messon, you have some very good strategies in relation to your stadium. And that is something too that we have to look at. What are the naming rights that we're going to be offering for the National Stadium, for Catherine Hall, for Trelawney Multipurpose? And that is where we're really starting to cook with gas and make some money.
Okay, so we have some work to do, is what you're saying, but we're on our way. We're on our way. Just checking. All right. Thank you very much for that. This is Wilkinson McDaniel. As we move on to more presenters, folks, Chris Daring is up next. Led the Caribbean successful staging of the ICC Cricket World Cup in 2007, which is the third largest global sporting event. He is also a regional pioneer in the business of sports. He has negotiated numerous multi-million-dollar sports rights deals across the world. And I don't know if you're familiar with the sports channel SportsMax. Well, it was Mr. Daring who conceptualized and launched that channel in 2001. And it is now the Caribbean's first sports television channel broadcast in 26 countries. Really cool? Please welcome Mr. Chris Daring for his presentation.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm going to the podium to save some time. So I'm going to talk to you this morning a little bit about investing in our creative industries. When I think of the creative industries and I think of Jamaica's culture, sports, all I think about is its content. Here in Jamaica and around the world. And that's because we live in a digital world. And in the digital world, as you know, you've heard this saying before, content is king or queen. And that's because there's this proliferation of screens around the world, whether it be mobile handsets, and televisions, phablets and tablets, and of course computers and so on. So we're in a digital world. And if in the digital world content is king, I've always said, for 20 years now, Jamaica is at least a crown prince or princess. And maybe even a king. Because we are living, breathing content. Everything about our lifestyle, the way we celebrate the games, the way we play sports, it's all infused into one. It's not a coincidence that when Usain Bolt used to win, I remember the first time he did the gully creep up, after celebrating a victory. And it's not a coincidence that the minister can stand up here and lead everybody in song. We are this embodiment of a lifestyle that has embodied and infused with music and culture and so on, which makes it just fantastic content for television. And I'll never forget when I used to negotiate West Indies Cricket Board television rights around the world. And after you've done selling West Indies cricket, they also always ask you, do you have anything else? Do you have anything from Jamaica? And we wouldn't have anything else because we thought of sport as games. We didn't think of it as content not to be packaged and sold around the world. And I can tell you, we used to be able to sell West Indies cricket around the world for higher prices than Australia, for instance, would be able to sell an Ashes tour. And if you know anything about cricket, Ashes tour is the creme de la creme of the cricketing sport, cricket sport. So, and you might think it was because West Indies played a particular brand of cricket that was entertaining and so on. Yes, that had a factor. But the reality of it was that televising cricket from the Caribbean was just great content. People would come home 5 o'clock in the evening in England and turn on their television and see these wonderful images of people dancing, music in the stands, sunshine. It was just wonderful content to view, so you'd attract more than just the cricket audience. So if content is king and Jamaica is a crown prince in the world of content, how can we monetize it? Well, first of all, any content strategy that you have has to involve all 3 screens. So you can't develop content just for mobile. You can't develop content just for the television or for computers. It's all 3 screens that you remember you're going to be reaching people with. Secondly, we have to have a balance between the subject and the quality of the broadcast. And we see so many people getting into content production and thinking about, investing all their money in the quality of the product. But it's the subject that is probably more important. And I put up this example here of a very fuzzy looking football match, and it's between Brazil and Argentina, where they're charging $100 for a pay-per-view, versus a free broadcast in 4K of a croquet game between a couple of 85-year-olds. Who do you think is going to get the bigger audience? I don't care how fuzzy it is. If that's the only way I can watch Brazil-Argentina football match, and I have to pay $100, that's what I'm going to do. And so you have to have that balance between what is the subject and what is your production values. I've always said to people, to my folks back at Ready TV, that I wish I had Ready TV was around when we had the famous Dulles affair. Because the most watched television program in the history of this country would have been if you were to put a camera at the entrance to Tivoli. 2 weeks we knew this thing was going to happen and an incursion was going to take place, but nobody could see what was happening. And so everybody was off the road and so on, sitting in their homes. If you could have just put a camera on that gate and have that gate on television 24/7, it would have been the most watched channel in the history of the country. The subject is extremely important, and we have lots of it. Thirdly, the product begins at home. Our Jamaican product begins at home. With all due respect to everybody in the diaspora, you know the authenticity of our product. You can tell when it's really coming from home and it's been embraced by that society. And if you think about all of our cultural icons and our athletic icons, they're coming from inner city or rural Jamaica. They're the sort of breadbasket, the true roots of this country. And therefore, you have to embrace that root if you want excellence. So we have to begin at home. We have to make sure that our product is monetizable here in Jamaica before you export it. Give it that authenticity. Fourth is the distribution channels are key. And we spoke about the minister, heard talking about the need to establish distribution for content and so on. Well, we have a plethora now of distribution channels in Jamaica that are not being used. So don't worry about the icons and the acronyms of 4G and 5G and DVB and ATSC3 and Wi-Fi and fiber to the home. Those are simply distribution channels that our content is going to use to monetize itself. Fifth, and probably most importantly, because we all get so excited about the internet and broadband and, you know, mobile data and so on. TV is still king. TV is still king. It is still the screen most people watch for, and it's still the screen that content is monetized the most by. So whilst we look at the future and the era prior to broadband and the internet, you still have to make money. And television is still king. There's a reason why the IPL in India, a 6-week cricket tournament, sells for $4 billion US. It's not internet, it's all television rights. You're familiar with the NFL, you know, 20 billion US television rights. Nothing to do with the internet. So that's where still a lot of money is being earned in pay TV, free-to-air broadcasting, etc. So let's not forget that TV is still king until a bigger king comes along. And let's look at the Jamaican market. Jamaica has 880,000 households, of which 800,000 have at least one TV set. I know, put up your hand if you've had to set back a brand new flat screen or relative here. It's a gift of choice that people still want. I want a flat screen or a phone. But still a nice flat screen which entertains an entire family versus a phone is an individual gift. So 800,000 have at least one TV set. And we kind of know that was from Statistical Institute census. But we kind of know that to be true because JPS bills for 600,000 households. And believe 200,000 people are still electricity. If they have a TV, chances are they have electricity. But only about 200,000 have either cable or broadband. So what are they watching? Unlike you in the diaspora that can put up an antenna and get 30 or 40 free-to-air channels, they're watching 1 or 2 analog television channels still. 50 or almost 60 years after television came to Jamaica, we still only have 2 analog television channels. In fact, in the country they call it rice grain. Which means there's 600,000 households in this country that have been left behind in the digital divide. Because the US had their digital switchover back in 2009. So Jamaica still hasn't switched over digital. So that's the market that I would have seen, and we at Ready TV would have seen as a potential opportunity for Ready TV. Jamaica's first digital broadcast network. Where, you know, we realize that even the homeless of homes now can get access to free-to-air television. And so, as the first broadcaster, digitally, we were able to deliver not just 1 or 2 analog, it's over 100 free-to-air, or 100 rather broadcast channels. So there are channels right here floating in this room, in the air, that can be picked out of the air. With immediate access, so it's as easy as going to the supermarket, picking up a box, putting up the antenna, and buying some ready credit, we call it, which is top-up credit, because Jamaica is a massive prepaid market, and setting up yourself. And so all over the country, people are now, especially in the rural areas, we're very pleased that, you know, from Ginger Hill, Giving Me Bit and so on, people are putting up their antennas now, getting a broadcast signal. 23 channels, pay TV in a box, and of course all channels are broadcast in high def. So they're moving straight from analog to high def. They've skipped out standard definition. So what I'd like to say to you, and there was a young lady that stood up today and asked about what facilities are there in Jamaica for the exploitation and monetization of content. Jamaica is poised for content explosion. You have broadband, you have all these channels that are now available with digital broadcast age, hundreds of channels that can reach every household in Jamaica without a cost, because that's the most important thing. Everybody's excited about the internet has a cost. So there's lots of demand for the internet. There's a particular word I like to use. What is the effective demand? How many people can afford a monthly subscription to get the internet, and then on top of that to pay for content? Not a lot in this market. And therefore you have to use what is still the medium of the masses, broadcast television. And so I'm calling on the government today. I'm sorry the minister has left, but the decision is now firmly within government hands about when Jamaica does its digital switchover. It's been 10 years of planning and consultation. The recommendations have now gone into the government to make their decision to do the digital switchover. Because what that does It now brings the digital world to everybody, not just the 200,000 households that can afford internet and afford cable and so on, but every household can have access to hundreds of digital channels. And that includes the government. Can you imagine now free broadcast television, broadcasting live classes, mathematics, English, teaching everybody across the country, closing that education gap between what takes place in some of the best high schools in Jamaica and what takes place in some of the worst. Can you imagine live 24/7 channels on disaster preparedness, helping to make sure that everybody's prepared during a hurricane, that information is flowing? Can you imagine the government's own channels? Can you imagine culture having their own television channels, free to air in everybody's homes, giving access to the creative industry, unleashing all of that content creativity that Jamaicans are so good at? It's about to happen. What is wanted? So we have all of these platforms, and I can tell you at Ready TV, we have channels waiting for entrepreneurs to launch their television services and so on. We're happy to come and share that revenue. We have pay TV platforms that can allow you to monetize it. We don't have the content. What amazed me, I don't know if anybody here ever heard of Pushy. An Indian soap opera that took Jamaica by storm a couple years ago. And 2 o'clock every day, every Jamaican turns on their TV to watch Pushy. I can't even bear 15 seconds of it. I said, where are the Jamaican soap operas? We have better stories, far more entertaining stories. Yeah? Where are the Jamaican soap operas? Where are the Jamaican movies? We have Channel Space. Where's the Jamaican sports? No girls' high school football, netball, you name it, match has ever been broadcast live in this country. Wonderful content waiting to be packaged, waiting to be sold. And I won't even mention our music that, every single day there's a new superstar coming on board. Coffee?
Yes, yes.
My goodness, when I see that young lady, my heart just bursts. So, it's a digital world, and we are poised to become the crown prince or king or queen. It's time to take the throne. Thank
you. Lots of opportunities exist. We're poised, but are we ready? I guess is the question. Digital switchover? Can you speak to that, Mr. Wilkinson, McDaniel, at all? No, not at all? Okay. All right, questions? 2 folks at the podium, and then our final presenter for this morning. Yes, sir.
Chris, good to see you again after such a long time. And congratulations with your success with the 2007 World Cup. What I want to ask, with the decline of the watching of Test cricket, how would you market the West Indies if you were in power today? Any suggestions?
What a question. That's on the afternoon session.
Hold me with that, man. Yeah, so the women's team is doing well. And look, we've done well periodically. The reality is that television and the revenues of television dramatically changed the world of cricket. And you can correlate the decline of West Indies cricket with the growth of television because we don't have a large television market. But what we have to monetize. So for instance, the English Cricket Board, they get 250, 300 million US a year from the domestic sale of television rights. West Indies Cricket Board gets zero from domestic sale because we never thought of it as content to develop locally. So we're not going to get 250, but we would have narrowed that gap if we had thought about developing West Indies cricket as a television form. So for instance, now West Indies cricket is not even on our domestic. When they play locally, they're not even on our local channels anymore.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Question over here, quickly?
Absolutely. So, good morning. My name is Henny Ortiz Porto, and I started the brand Pato Apparel many years ago. And this question actually is for Chris, right? So, I started that brand and I began to branch out into wanting to do television production with a series called Bandwidth. It was supposed to be featuring reggae bands in Jamaica. And so I'm glad you talked about wanting content, because the question is, what space do we have a television series, but would want to create that content because we know that there's a space for it?
Well, let me answer that in two ways. First, there's lots of space. Lots of space. But secondly, the point I made about production cost versus subject. And we all can, there's a saying I like to say, don't fall in love with your own supply. Never get hired in supply. So sometimes you might think a content is great. At the end of the day, the arbiter of that is going to be the consumer. Are they willing to pay for that? Or is it just a nice piece of content to see on free to air, and therefore you have to monetize it through advertising and so on? So you have to make that judgment choice. But production costs have come so dramatically down. What you used to think about as an important expenditure is no longer. And then YouTube has also changed forever for the rest of the world. What people are willing to view. So it's not so much the production, as you just spoke about how expensive it is, but it's the subject. So make sure the subject matter is interesting, and you will find a buyer.
Thank you. Next question. One here, and then the final one over here.
Okay. Dr. Smith from Orlando, Florida, member of the Southern Chapter, Diaspora. Thank you, sir, for your presentation. You talked about the genuine products from home, and we love those. However, there are also many products that are not genuine. And manufacturers take the Jamaican label, put it on their products. Do you have registered trademarks for these products? And what is the punishment for those who infringe?
Well, all exportable. That's a good question, because on the content side, intellectual property is a challenge. Not just because people overseas are stealing our content and putting, using their fake accents and so on and making content out of it, but because Jamaicans also are stealing a lot of content internationally. So we have to develop a habit as well as legislation that protects intellectual property, particularly in the creative space, film, soap operas and so on. Because and we then also have to show respect for other people's IPR, so we have to stop people stealing content. Jamaica is one of the few countries in the world you actually see advertising in newspapers. Get up, buy an Android box so you can. They don't say it, but so you can steal all this free offer the content for free. And you know HBO and ESPN is not selling this thing. It's not giving it to Jamaica for free. But you can actually advertise it here in Jamaica in the newspapers. Come and get your Android box. And get all this 2,000 free channels. It doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. So we do have to develop legislation, and then not just the legislation, but the effective way of policing it, so it's immediate. So somebody who develops a new soap opera is not going to all of a sudden see parody DVDs floating all over the place, and it takes them 7 or 8 years to get to the court to get them to stop. So we do have a challenge, there's no question about that.
Yes. You want to add something? Yes, Mrs.
Well, there are two. So there are the piracy of goods and placing the labels on particular products that are non-Jamaican, which the government has we've been working assiduously to actually on legislation to assist with that at the World Intellectual Property Office level. However, policing a brand is extremely expensive. I mean, the largest Jamaican brand is the Marley brand, and they have been, when I say the largest brand the top 5 brands in Jamaica are creative brands. Marley, Bolt, Sean Paul, and Chris Gale. 4 largest Jamaican brands, and they're larger than brand Jamaica. Now, the Marley brand, as everybody knows, is one that requires protection across every country, every platform, but it requires a lot of money. We have not acceded as yet. We're working on it, and Minister Grange is working assiduously on that with her colleague ministers, on us acceding to the Madrid Protocol, which will allow for us to police those brands across different jurisdictions,
Okay.
all of the countries that have acceded to the Madrid Protocol. And so that kind of legislation is what will assist us going forward, but we actually have to accede to the protocol.
Protocol. All right. Mike Mann, Mr. Hill. Yes.
Good morning, Madam Chair. I'm Marlon Hill. I'm a business lawyer from Miami. The question is, why don't we see more being done in terms of investing in our kids, learning about how to create, protect, and also monetize their culture in schools, right? Not everybody can be a lawyer, not everybody can be a doctor, not everybody can be a teacher. Why don't we have more programming in schools to teach kids how to create, protect, and exploit their content? Whether it's a business, whether it's an innovation center, whether it's a content creation, Chris, how are we going to take the throne if we're not even grooming the kids to be able to create
It's all related to community.
I have a view, which educators may, have made before, but the reality is that Jamaica, from its educational system, still has not embraced culture, sports as true business opportunities and career paths.
Yep.
So, I'll never forget when I was leaving Darrington and Bowling to go to the Western Street Board to set up their commercial operations. People thought I was retiring. You're going to make sport. You're leaving business to go to sport and play games. So there's a whole mentality about it. So I always use the example of Rory McIlroy.
So I tell when I'm training, I said,
where when he was 9, he decided he was to be a professional golfer. And so his entire school activities were surrounding to make him a professional golfer. So by 18 he's a millionaire. We didn't mention that in the Jamaican context. You go, you're crazy. No, maths and English is your curriculum and everything else is extracurricular. And they said, no. Playing on the guitar could very well be the curriculum and everything else is extracurricular. Because of just how the digital economies have now changed the perceptions of all the creative industry. And so we do need a whole rethink of our entire education system, because 10 years ago, I'll never forget this. The then Prime Minister, this is like, actually it's more than 10 years ago, so it's in the early 90s, the then Prime Minister took a group of investment bankers up to Wall Street to present a bunch of projects for funding. And he made a speech to sort of roll the wicket in front of all these Wall Street bankers, where he spoke about the 3 things Jamaica was good at, that we're internationally renowned for: our natural beauty, our sports, and our music. And I just remember looking down the list of all the projects. We must have had 100 projects for funding that went to Wall Street. None were in music and sports. So out of the 3 things we're good at, only one, natural beauty, we created an industry from, our tourism industry. And we didn't have to be very good, because we already had it naturally. We just had these beautiful beaches, beautiful scenery and so on. But the 2 other things that we were just innately good at, we had not even thought of as industries, sports and music. So yeah, there has to be a whole repositioning, a whole rethinking and education of how we position from the grassroots, from the students, from the kids. They must know that yes, playing a guitar is a top, it can be your priority, and you can make a successful living doing that.
If that's what you love, your passion can become your profit.
I told my father I was going to play professional sports.
Yes.
He would have shot me.
Oh gosh. It's true though, it's interesting that we're talking about how we can partner to move these industries forward, but what we need here at home is a mindset change as to how we look at these industries, because we see, I'm telling you, there's some young kids in Jamaica now who they've been bitten by those bugs, and they're going to become game changers for us moving forward. But we need to also condition our minds to realize it's okay. I know many guitar players, and they're never here. They're always traveling with the biggest band and the biggest artists, and they're making a very good living on their terms. So yes, your point is well taken and well made, and it's something we all need to think about more thoughtfully in this room. Can we then move on to our final presenter for the morning? Yes, can you help me welcome Mrs. Nadine Spencer, Chief Executive Officer of Brand EQ Group, Inc. out of Canada, madam? Give her a round of applause, please.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I did bring a check, moderator.
brought my check. But I will stick to time. You know, when I think about Jamaica, as a creative, I think about Jamaica always as very creative and very colorful, because we are colorful, very, very colorful. When I heard the minister sing just now, Brown Girl in the Rain, I've always sang, black girl in the rain, sha-la-la-la-la, there's a black girl in the rain. Because, you know, we want to sort of change the narrative as well, and be proud of the black girl in the rain, or, you know, talking about black people. Yes. When I talk about marketing, I say my brand is black, and I talk about black people being very strong, and black people being very talented, and obviously, of course, putting your financial statement in the black, it's a very good thing. So what are some of the, I wanted to open with some of the stereotypes that we hear about Jamaica in terms of customer service. What are some of those stereotypes that we know? Just yell it out quickly. What are some of them? Slow, inefficient, rude.
Always late.
Bad attitude.
Bad attitude.
Always late.
Always late. Thank you so much for sharing. So you know what? I'm here to put that to rest. I really am here to put that to rest. I have a story. So Jamaica is ripe for business right now. Just like the mango is ripe, Jamaica is very ripe. So yesterday, a friend of mine brought me a dozen mango, and I started eating the mango, which was wonderful, and then some of the mango dripped on my dress that I was going to wear today. I was going to wear a fabulous yellow dress, you know, representing the brand of the country. But the mango spilled on my dress, so I quickly rushed to my suitcase and pulled out another dress, and guess what? 10:30 at night, I realized the dress is too tight. So my lovely house manager, because she's so awesome, she stayed with me last night, and I said, what am I going to do? She said, you know, Miss Nadine, I know a woman that can fix it, you know. I said, you know, but you know, it's a size. We won't talk about size, that's irrelevant. It needs to be 2 sizes bigger than what it currently is. And she took a picture of it, and she went all the way up from where I live at Barbican up to Stony Hill. And the woman, she brought the dress back this morning, and somehow, I don't know, this dress fit. How it happened, I don't know. Magic. But it just goes to show you, it defies the stereotype. Here it is, 11 o'clock at night, this incident happened, and a Jamaican who's creative and brilliant seamstress was able to take this and got it done. So you see, my friends, we have viable, good service here in Jamaica, and when we talk about brand, and I'm so glad you talked about content, we need to tell the story about how efficient we are. When something good happens, that's what we need to talk about. The efficiency, the skill set, and all of that makes it great. So, as Diaspora members, we can capitalize on creative industries. Others are doing it, and so should we. You know, there's a company in Canada called Roots. I remember going into Bud's office, and on his office wall, as big as this screen, bigger, is a Jamaican flag, big, bold, and strong. And they have made a lot of money capitalizing on brand Jamaica, and we need to do that as well. When we talk about creative industries, we talk about those which have their origins in individual creativity, skill, and talent. The sector generally is regarded as made up of distinct industries, advertising, we talk about digital, we talk about sports, music, TV, and so forth. But they also include industries which have potential to create wealth and jobs through the development, production, and the use of intellectual property. Jamaica itself is a creative industry all unto itself. The brand of Jamaica is fully creativity. So, Jamaica has been a world leader in conveying its culture and continues to set trends globally. Whether it's been through the expression of music, food, sports, or its proud people who do everything against all odds. You know, in a lot of the TV shows, they always talk about, well, if you're Jamaican, you have 10 jobs, right? Because we know how to leverage the best of an opportunity, and also that we're hard workers, and we do everything it takes to move it forward. We influence so many things that many people try to emulate us. When I'm in Toronto on Eglinton Avenue West in Little Jamaica, there is, you know, a white person walking with their Rasta belts. You know, it's how the brand has transcended just Jamaica. When we think about food, world famous patty. It's a global brand. Our jerk chicken, the spices, all of these culinary flavors are part of that global creativity. Music. I always remember an interview that I had in a studio where the engineer explained to me how Bob Marley's got to the beat of reggae. He says, he spoke to Bob and talked about how the bass could not be turned on while recording to make reggae. From the engineer's perspective, once the bass hit the red zone on the sound meter, it deemed to be too loud or too hot. However, Bob Marley dared to go beyond the comfort zone, push limits, and not only sonically but lyrically change the voice of reggae. Bob Marley had the nerve to be fearless. He addressed social issues. He did not accept discrimination and rules that limited him. He was undoubtedly a leader who defined all constraints, and that's what we need to do in the world of creativity, excuse me, to move things forward. Now, the international craze that has exploded since dancehall. There's a woman I see online. Her name is Joanna's Enough. She's from Sweden, and she does dancehall better than who?
No.
I was gonna say Lady Saw, but now she's no longer Lady Saw. But she does dance hall just like any of the dance hall individuals, because here she is, she recognizes the creativity of what that style is. And now this Joanna Enough woman is making a lot of money just doing this dance hall. So Jamaica Patois also, the world over, uses it. Right now in Japan, the females are using Patois in their lyrics and in their music. Sports, same thing. People are buying Puma just because of Usain Bolt and our female athletes. You know, we talked about copywriting. I was on a website looking through various Jamaican things, and I got to this website and it was amazing. The logo was fantastic. So I right-clicked on it so I could save it, and this little thing says, "We are Tifa Brandfa." I loved it. So when you talk about copywriting, I think that's something that's ongoing that we can do. You know, a colleague of mine says, you know, we need not beg when we understand the value of our gifts. The world recognizes Jamaica's value, and many people exploit it and are monetizing it, except for, and Jamaicans are not using it in the way that we should. When I look at the creative goods industry, we are estimated to be a $624 billion industry. We're developing, in developing countries, we're responsible for 50% of that total in the areas of fashion, design, music, etc. Creative services exports in 2012 totaled about $200 billion US globally, tripling that value as we go along. I know it's 2019, you can imagine what that numbers look like. So, the time is now. They're telling me to end, are you kidding me? I will wrap up very quickly because I will have to pay the money if not. But two areas of interest that we must look at. One is marketing. Marketing the Jamaica brand is so important. Have you've seen Tony Montana in Scarface when he says, if we want to get to the power, we have to get to first if you want to get to the woman, you have to get to the money, and then the power, and then we get the woman, right? But in the world of marketing, you have to get to, in the world of creative, and when you're building a brand, you have to get to the marketing, and then we get the money. So, the marketing is key for brand Jamaica as we build and as we grow. So let the world know who we are, what our brand is, and we should also participate in the brand. So based on the numbers, we can clearly see the opportunities for Diaspora members to work with Jamaica, to work on the color of Jamaica. And as I say, my favorite color is black, my brand is black. There really is a gold mine here. So I want to conclude by, when we look at the key elements that we can participate in, we have to broaden our view. We have to go to uncharted waters, and also to use technology, leverage technology. Right now, if we look at artificial intelligence, which is
voice note, so using Siri, you can ask Google for anything. If you want a wife or husband, you ask Google, Google will tell you. If you want a rich husband, Google will tell you that too. So we really have to leverage technology in all we do as we build and work on our creative industries. Marketing plus tech are the two key things. When I think of Jamaica, I think of color. We as people bring color to everything, to food, fashion, music, all things creative. Brand Jamaica is about people, and life is too short not to be Jamaican, and leveraging our creative talents.
Life's too short not to be Jamaican, and I've taken a note about Google and Siri, and I'm going to try it out later. What do you say? We just find marriage. Alright, we can talk about it. Well, thank you very much, Dale, Nadine Spencer. Folks, I'm being told that we need to wrap this session. We actually should have started the second session at 11 o'clock. So if you have a question, Sir David, do you have a question?
Yes,
We're going to take these two questions and then we're going to wrap it up.
So David Mullick there from the Southeast USA. One question I wanted to ask was, what is the importance of downtown Kingston as a creative city, the home of Trenchtown, where reggae music and dancehall has come from? And what can we do as a diaspora, other than telling people to come to Kingston? I've been on too many flights where white tourists in Montego Bay were told by Jamaicans not to come to Kingston. We need to change that, but what else can we do?
Kingston is safer than
Montego Bay. And I mentioned that yesterday, that we definitely need to change that. And part of that is us as Jamaicans, how many of us are on social media here today? How many of us are tweeting, talking about the conference? I see a few hands, not enough. I think the most important thing that we can do for Jamaica, Brand Jamaica, and for each other and our business is to talk about it, share the possibilities, share the experience. When I'm in Jamaica, I go to Carnation Market every Saturday, and I go down and I buy porridge, and I share that online. Because Jamaica is wonderful, and it's in the heart of town, and everything is safe, and everything is okay, and it's a great experience. So the only way that we are going to be able to change the narrative is every single person in here should be talking about it, should be putting it on social media.
Okay, thank you. Further question.
More of a statement than a question. Hi, Jamaica National. Thanks and welcome again to all our Jamaican family visiting with us. I just want to reiterate that Jamaica's largest assets are connected to the creative and cultural industry. And it's very, very important that we figure out the complete ecosystem. What is it really going to take for us to monetize and to really exploit opportunities embedded? It's more than just the Ministry of Culture. We need the Education Ministry to step in to really reframe the whole education system, as Mr. Deering was saying, to ensure that our youth see the benefit of a profession in culture and creative industry. It's going to take me, the bank and the financiers, to ensure that we can support some of our young entrepreneurs to ensure that they can finance. So it's an entire ecosystem, infrastructure included, which is the easier of the lot, but really ensuring that we look at the entire picture to ensure this is a success.
So I agree, thank you. Sorry, I'm going to use my moderator work, Look how far I come. Final question, very quickly.
I'm just one area, which is food.
Yes.
All of us from the US, the UK, Canada come from markets where franchising is a major part of our industry and income earning. And in Jamaica, you find every food outlet, Burger King, KFC. Why can we not get a Jamaican company like Island Grill to franchise across North America and the UK?
Okay. I know we have a food company, I know concerns, but yes, please.
Any Jamaican food company.
Anybody on the panel wants to take that quickly, so we can...
Well, what I'll say is, in the city of Miramar, we really work to try to attract, especially Jamaican companies, to come to the city of Miramar because our population has so many Jamaicans in the community. We have a foreign trade zone where you can distribute, as long as you're creating a job in some form of assembly. So, for example, if you're exporting guava jam or whatever, if you package that in Miramar, you can do it tariff-free. we're working with franchisees to educate them on how to get a business license, and we'll even go with another step to help them identify the zoning and places where they can establish their businesses. So I think as a municipality in the U.S., my responsibility is to make sure that the information is available, put the specific partnerships together. For example, they may need a U.S. partner in terms of capital. So there's many things that we can do as a city to help facilitate those private entities that would like to expand into our marketplace.
It's no brainer. If you want to earn foreign currency, get Jamaican and Caribbean companies to be in those markets where diaspora people live, that can invest in those companies and send proper money back to the Caribbean.
Certainly,
No
thank
brainer.
you. Thank you for your point. I'm not sure it's as easy as you make it out today, but yes, please.
I will tell you, Usain Bolt tracks and records.
Yes.
It's a franchise.
Yes.
That's available in the US if anybody is interested.
That's correct. And also the UK? And UK, yes. Folks, we have to wrap it up. May I thank you all for a spirited session. May I say thank you to our panelists. Give them a round of applause, please. Honorable Minister who was here earlier, Mayor Messam, Mrs. Julia, Wilkinson, Daniel, Mr. Christian.
And a round of applause for the moderator.
And for you guys for your participation, thank you. Good to see you. Walk with everybody. And as Miss May would say, may good luck and walk with you. Enjoy the rest of your session. God bless and take care. Have some presentations. We're going to ask our panelists not to move just yet. We have some tokens that we'd like to give you. Mayor, I'm going to ask you to say, if you can move to the front just to receive your tokens. Panelists, can we ask you to move to the front just to receive your tokens, please? As our way of saying thank you.
My God, how much for that? Oh, not much for that now. Let's look at the business.
I don't want to get to you.
No, man, you're good, man.
Good.
Feel free, feel free.
Who were the other?
Catch them before they go. Catch them before they're free.
I'm trying to get up there.
Huh?
Trying to get the right there.